Good morning, Bix Weir, Roota.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of coffee. Yes, Vegas has taken it out of me. We are actually still on the road. We made 2 day drive. I had to bring all the equipment down for the music and the show and all the giveaway stuff. Oh my God, crazy fun. Um, I'll be doing a video probably later today or tomorrow, kind of a recap, and then we've got video for the private road members and for Patreon members of the event. We'll trickle that stuff out over time. We got to do some editing and all this stuff. Oh my God, what a great time. If you went to the Road to Ruta event and I didn't get to spend enough time with you, I'm sorry. There was like a zillion people. Um, but yeah, crazy fun. It was great meeting everybody. People are so cool on the Road to Ruta, let me tell you. I want to thank everybody who came down to speak and to chat and to hang out. All the Litecoin crazy people, the East Coast to West Coast team. Bitcoin Ben, it's just amazing guy, and all the speakers we had. Snippy was there, Dick Allgaier, Will there. I mean, it was just like bang, bang, bang. So many awesome people. It's such a great time, crazy fun. But I'm back in the saddle almost. We're driving through California, smoke everywhere, and we're seeing fires here and there. I'm like, holy crap! If you want to know what's happening with these fires, it's not about global warming. The moment you hear that, punch that person in the face. It's a lie. It's about the far left eco friendly warriors who have absolutely, you can't even cut down a tree on your own property in California, much less, clear a forest or do any kind of logging or anything. There's so many insane environmentalists in California. Oh, don't you touch that little shrub. It might, the three horned beetle might live in it, and you have to go get a permit to do anything in California. Anything. So, yes, absolutely 100%. The reason for the fires in California, the reason California is being destroyed is the environmental. And they will not admit it. Gavin Newsom, the freako lefty governor, is saying, oh, yeah, it's about global warming. He's full of shit. Like, literally full of shit. Anyway, let's talk about Deutsche Bank. Huge miss by Deutsche Bank. The failing monster derivative holder, Deutsche Bank, is going to be gone in a matter of months. Like, gone, gone. And then what happens to the derivative book? You got the ECB, they can't bail them out. You got Germany doesn't want to bail them out. Nobody wants to bail anybody out anymore. And you can't. The ECB can't because they didn't bail out uh, Greece or Italy or Portugal. They stole their assets. Were they going to steal Germany's assets? Good luck with that. Germany controls the ECB. Anyway, Deutsche Bank posts third quarter loss as restructuring bites. Deutsche Bank's Deutsche Bank AG's global overhaul has taken another bite, with the German lender reporting a second consecutive quarterly loss as it exits businesses and absorbs restructuring costs. They never talk about the derivative anymore. I think it's still above $40 trillion with a T. I mean, a $1 trillion derivative failure would destroy every bank around the world. And they're sitting there with 40 trillion and failing fast. The bank Wednesday reported a 832 million euro third quarter net loss. I mean, at some point, they're going to just run out of the capital they can write down. The results missed expectations. Well, I was expecting it high, and it was even higher loss. And it's insane. But keep an eye on it because it's a big one and it's a trigger point. Yes, Jamie Dimon is trying to, become the largest derivative holder on planet Earth, and is right now, as far as banks are concerned. People like BlackRock and the Fed and the Exchange Stabilization Fund obviously have larger derivative books. But yeah, one of these banks goes, everybody goes. Now let's talk about repos. I haven't been watching the repos in a while. Hold on a second. There we go. Here's where we are. It's like right on my projection. It's ridiculous. Look at that. Now, I started doing this on September 11th, and that's when this whole thing started. September 11th. I was screaming it for so long. It's going to start on September 11th. It's going to grow and grow and grow, and we're moving into the exponential part. Now, we've gone from, let's say, when it hit 10%, the first bailout overnight was about 50 billion. I said it's going to grow and it's going to grow faster, and then it's going to increase into November. Those of you on the road, on the private road, you have all this documentation. I update it daily. Now that I'm back, almost back, I'm going to update it daily. Right now, we're at, as of the 29th, we're at $269 billion was needed overnight. That's a third of what the total bailout was in 2008. And it's just going to grow. And as I said, as we hit those points, one of the big points is the 700 billion, because that's the same bailout, but people will stand up and say, hey, wait a minute. Congress had to vote on the last 700 billion bailout. Why is there no voting now? And why are we allowing this to go? Now, Jamie Dimon, our friend and the guy who should have been in jail decades ago, is screaming, we have to change the rules for the banks. We have to release all these Dodd-Frank regulations that make it harder for us to lend overnight. We need reserves in the banks. We needed to be able to use the short-term money because it's cheap, and we financed everything long-term that was expensive. So we charged a high rate, but we want to get cheap money. There's been all kinds of analysis of what's going on. Nobody really knows, other than before 2008, you didn't need any money in the Fed repo area. That was all the liquidity had to do with everything else. There was liquidity everywhere. Everybody was willing to lend. The problem is the banks aren't willing to lend to each other anymore because they know the collateral has been rehypothecated 100 times. That's the ultimate problem. Faith and confidence. I've been screaming it. It's all about faith and confidence. The banks don't trust each other anymore. Financial institutions don't trust each other anymore. Now it's all down to the Fed. The Fed's got to give everybody money. And it's interesting what's happening. I'll get to that in a second. Here's an article on Zero Hedge. JP Morgan's CEO Jamie Dimon has been running around Washington claiming that mid-September's repo rumble was the result of the post-crisis regulatory environment. He now says his bank had the spare cash and was willing to cash in on double-digit repo rates, but it was government rules which prevented that from happening. It is unclear why he didn't make the same claim and warn everyone on Friday, September 13th, before the seasonal low point in liquidity that everybody knew was there. It wasn't until quite a while after, during the period when a stunned financial world was still trying and failing to make sense of what happened. You probably won't be surprised to learn that this isn't the first time Wall Street has complained about these very same regulations. They've been complaining about it all along. Suddenly, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin seems to be siding with the banks. Having spoken directly to Mr. Dimon recently, Mnuchin says today, quote, "The banks have raised an issue around intraday liquidity, and that is something that makes sense for regulators to look at." So Jamie Dimon and the banks have got Mnuchin, who is owned and controlled by the banks, because he's the Goldman Sachs guy who is head of IT computer rigging for Goldman Sachs. So they got him saying, "Oh yeah, we got to release these Dodd-Frank rules around liquidity." Again, before 2008, none of this was needed. It was like zero. The problem is everybody else, all the liquidity of all the markets, of everybody used to combine and trade with each other and lend to each other. Now nobody is, because nobody knows what the collateral is worth, because it's been rehypothecated 10 times. Even U.S. Treasury bonds, 2 or 3 owners for the same bond. Faith and confidence is the destroyer, and that's what's going away. It is amazing to watch. So Mnuchin saying, yeah, we gotta allow Jamie Dimon to basically lend along for high rates and borrow overnight the shortest term rates. It's actually not the shortest. Fed Pal, here we go. Fed Pal, and you might think, oh, this is good, but then you read it like, wait a minute. Fed Pal wants to amp repo liquidity without rewriting the rules. So Powell's saying, no, Jamie, we won't do that because we're the regulator. We're not going to bow to your pressures. And Mnuchin took the bait, but Powell didn't. But look what he said. Fed Chairman Powell said the central bank has been looking at long-term options to improve market liquidity, including intraday liquidity. So not only is overnight loans, the cheapest loans you should have been able to get, that's not good enough anymore. Now you have to do intraday liquidity. Like I lend you $50 trillion for half an hour. Yes, it is insane. And none of this was necessary before 2008. Like I said all along, the problem hasn't been fixed. They've just kicked the can. And now the people who agreed to kick the can no longer can agree with each other anymore because all the assets have been rehypothecated, meaning several owners for the same treasury bond. The Fed has considered technical adjustments, technical adjustments to head off a repeat of the September liquidity crunch. Powell said in a news conference Wednesday he doesn't think the agency will consider changes to Wall Street's capital or liquidity rules. Quote, it used to be a common thing for banks to have intraday liquidity from the Fed, what we called daylight overdrafts. I don't even know what to say to that. I don't even know what to say. That's something we can look at. So they're going to be announcing, and I guarantee you this is going to happen fast. They're going to be announcing, because this chart that I keep you guys up to date on, I get from the Fed's own website. They say how much the overnight repos are, the term repos, and then the U.S. Treasury purchase. We're going to have to add another column, intraday repos, and all this gets added up to a cumulative. So they're just adding more and more and more, and that's when we get to the exponential graph right here. And then my repo projections, we're getting into this point right here where we start just huge climbs in the beginning of November. And then we get to some really special dates that I've talked about on the road to Roota, on the private road, on the timeline article, the last timeline article that I did. We're still right on track. Check out the repo graph, the linear graph. We are literally right on track. So I'm not calling anything. As I have I called September 11th and I got that one right. That's all I got to call right now. I think the next one's coming. I don't have a date for you. I have a date when I think they're going to start recognizing what's really happening. In the, by the way, on a side note, in the last discussion I was on a panel at the Litecoin Summit. One of the last things, it was like 10 people, and Bull Pony was on it. Like, we're amongst all these little, YouTuber kids who, they're into cryptos. They don't know anything about the banking system or anything like that. But I'm like, and they're like, oh no, we need another 5 years. I'm like, dude, you don't have 5 years. Cryptos don't have 5 years. I'm sorry. I mean, I know, yes, you're right. Absolutely right. Cryptos need another 5 years to build up the infrastructure, but we don't have it. I'm sorry, you're not going to have it. And then Bo Pony says, I agree with Bix. And Bitcoin's going to go crazy as soon as the banks go down. I'm like, oh my God. Bo doesn't understand. When the banks go down, there is no market. Bitcoin's not going to go to 100,000 when the banks go down. There'll be no exchanges. I'm like, dude, why do you throw that shit out there? It won't be till long after the dust settles, that we'll know the price of Bitcoin. We'll know the price of silver. We won't know because there will be no exchanges open, because when the banks go down, so does Poloniex and Coinbase and everything. That's why you hodl. You hodl because you know the system's going to fail. And when it does, it's going to get ugly. And you're going to want cryptos, and silver and gold are for after the crash, not during the crash, after the crash. I hope that makes sense to everybody. And everybody knows that when the banks go down, nothing works. Poloniex, there's no Coinbase, there's no coin market cap. You're not going to know. All right? That's clear. Anyway, so yeah, Bo Pony was there. I'm like, Bo. Another prediction from Bo. That's all right. Whatever. So yeah, that's where we are. So Powell wants, and they're going to do this. I'm going to have to add another column to my chart, and it's going to be intraday. Obviously, it's cheaper money. If you have a 1 hour loan instead of a 24-hour loan, the 1 hour loan is going to be cheaper because the risk is less of the 23 hours that Jamie Dimon might go bankrupt. Yes, I agree with you. It is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane what's going on. But this is the infinity part of money print. So we're going to see the huge jumps if they report how much and when was given, and they better. If they don't report it, I won't be able to put it on this graph. So they better have a reporting section at the Fed saying, okay, we let Jamie Dimon $116 billion for 12 hours on the November 11th. They better report that, or I don't know. I don't even know what to say if they stop reporting all the amounts that they're giving out. Hey, yeah, that's up to Congress. Congress needs to come down and say, this is what that gets rid of the Fed. You see it? They can write a bill, sign it, boom, Fed is gone at that moment. If the Fed's not going to tell us what they're doing, sign the letter. Congress has the ability. It's right on the $100 bill, little gold ink fountain pen. Sign it. Fed is dead instantly. It gets absorbed into the U.S. Treasury, and then we move on from it. It's crazy. Yes, I understand. It's crazy. But anyway, I'm getting back into the swing of things. We got a couple more hours to get home today. If you guys haven't watched the Cliff High interview, it is posted on the private road. The full interview. I posted the snippets. If you want to know about the future, if you want to know about cryptos, if you want to know about silver, watch this interview. This is on the private road in the private road area. And it's a great one. He's such a good guy, and it was so awesome to play the video at the conference, and everybody was all excited and scared shitless, but hopeful, because we got to go through a lot of crap before we end up with a bright future. Cliff laid it out very well, especially this is an hour and a half interview. Just go to roadrooter.com, hit subscribe today, boom, and you get one Very token, which is going to go crazy. We're getting to a point where the SEC has to decide on Very, so watch for volatility in Very up or down. Okay, I think ultimately Very will absolutely live up to what was in the WebBot data, which is 1-for-1 with Bitcoin, which should be kind of scary to everybody, because Veritasium's right now like $15. So I'm just saying it'll either go to zero or it'll go 1-to-1 with Bitcoin. So this is really it's like putting $1 down to win a $50 million lottery, and the odds of winning are not good. But if you do win, boom, you can retire. That's my take. And you get a silver Roota coin, the coolest coin ever. I'm hearing rumblings that there's more charges to come down with people at JP Morgan, and we will find that out by the end of the year. So there's only 2 left. Blythe Masters, who ran the department, and Jamie Dimon, who told her what to do. So there's only 2 left that they can bust in the JP Morgan silver rigging operations for RICO charges. We will see what happens. Anyway, this is Bix, roadtoroo.com. Hitting the road soon. Thank you for participating in the Litecoin event. It was amazing. It was great fun. Thank you to Amy and all of my little volunteers who came out and helped us set up and helped us run everything. And everybody at the house, unbelievable time, huh? Crazy good time. All right, this is Bex. Talk to you later.